In this episode, we look at the power of micro habits and how you can utilise small changes to get big results. Often we can feel overwhelmed by the thought of what we'll need to do to make meaningful change in our lives. But actively working with micro habits, like we do in our programs, makes it simple and achievable, and above all, sustainable.
We take a look at the psychology and science behind investing in micro habits, including the importance of dopamine and rewards. We also look at how stacking habits makes it even easier to rewire your brain, so reaching your goals doesn't feel so hard.
Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Midlife Mentors with me, James.
And me, Claire. How are you all? I always say that. What have we been up to?
Lots. And actually, this one's coming out right now, so it's going to be current. So I guess the most exciting thing is we've launched our brand new program, the 10-day Midlife Boost. It's a brand new program from us. Loads of people signed up already. It's we designed it really because we know people are kind of struggling coming into the new year. We want to give something that's effectively a kickstart that's going to give you the tools you need and empower you.
Yeah, absolutely, because we've seen, how long was January, by the way? Oh my goodness. If anyone's on our newsletter, I sent out I thought it was quite funny, a little meme about, there were so many memes, it seemed, about January. James kept sending them. It just felt like
everyone found it long,
I felt like there was 12 months in 1 month.
Yeah.
It went on and on. And I think what our observation and listening to our clients and communicating with our clients, everyone has found it quite a struggle, actually, to get their mojo back. So we were like, okay, some people can't always invest 8 weeks in our midlife reset program. So let's create something that's a 10-day boost, little kickstart that packs a massive punch when it comes to results. So if you are struggling out there and you just feel like you're overwhelmed with unhealthy habits, you can't get any traction, you're feeling isolated, lost, feeling uncomfortable in your own skin, just can't get your mojo back, then this 10-day boost is so good. It's going to help you build new habits. It's going to help you get into a movement routine. It's going to help you have a better relationship with your food. It will kickstart some weight loss, absolutely, and put you in a community of like-minded people with us as your mentors. It's really, really amazing. So if you want to know about that, I've got the link in the show notes. And if you go on our website as well, you'll be able to see that that's available on our website now. Do join us. We actually open the doors on the 5th of February. But you don't actually have to start it right at that point. You've got access for 30 days. So it's available now, and we've got loads of people signed up, and it's exciting.
Love to see you in there. So we're going to talk, a link to that. We're going to talk about today about the power of micro habits and also how you can stack habits. So some of you might be familiar with stacking habits, some of you might not. So we're going to introduce you to those concepts. Because I think, as Claire said, a lot of people seem to be struggling with their motivation. Maybe you made resolutions and they've already fallen by the wayside. Maybe you didn't make any at all. Maybe just feeling just a bit lost, thinking, how do I change things? Well, looking at your micro habits is a great way to start. So I think we have this misconception that it's that one big thing that we find, the secret ingredient that's going to change everything for us. There's a brand new diet book out with a new approach. This will be what sorts my life out. No, it won't. Same with the new exercise
Kelsa
program.
proves it never works.
We underestimate, the power of just making small incremental changes and the massive transformation those can have. So micro habits, as the name suggests, are small, manageable actions that when we repeat them consistently lead to positive changes. And then over time, they lead to big changes. And the science behind these is quite interesting. So there's a number of psychological aspects of habit formation. And we'll show you how small habits can actually feed in and cause a ripple effect in behaviour. Yeah. So the first is neuroplasticity. Now, of course, our brain is both our software and our hardware. And the interesting thing is when we repeatedly do a behavior, so when we're getting that new habit going, that new micro habit, we actually start to create new synapses, strengthen existing ones, lay down new neural pathways that reinforce that habit. So over time, it'll become unconscious, like brushing our teeth. We don't have to think about that. We just do it. So that's number one, neuroplasticity.
And the second one is the old dopamine, the dopamine effect. those small wins that we make, like successfully completing a micro habit, will give that boost of the dopamine effect. So it will release dopamine. And when we get that release of dopamine, that's going to reinforce the behavior. And then in turn, it motivates repetition. So we get that dopamine hit. We want that dopamine hit. So we're going to keep repeating it. So that's another one. Number 3 is...
the habit loop. So a habit has 3 parts, right? There's the cue, there's the actual routine, the behavior, and then there's the reward that comes for it. So the cue triggers the behavior, which leads to reward. So when we have a micro habit, we want it to be simple and link it to existing cues or routines. This is taking us into habit stacking, which you can cover. So that the brain starts to associate the routine with a positive outcome, reinforcing the habit loop. So that might be, making the effort to switch your wine for a nice herbal tea in the evening because you want to just cut down your alcohol consumption. Actually getting the reward of drinking that tea and knowing you're doing good, then you get the dopamine hit from doing that, reinforces it. We also have things called keystone habits. So these are small changes or habits that unintentionally lead to development of multiple positive habits. So you get like a ripple effect going through your overall lifestyle. So something like getting up and drinking like a massive glass of water as soon as you wake up is going to hydrate you better for the day. So you're going to have better energy levels, better focus. So that's an example of like a tiny micro habit. It's not hard. Get up, drink a big glass of water, having this ripple effect. So if we can get lots of these little micro habits going, we're going to get great effects through our life.
And also, another thing is behavioural consistency and identity. So we connect these micro habits to our identity. So as those micro habits become consistent over time, they contribute to the formation of a new self-identity. Like the brain tends to align behaviour with self-perception. So when those micro habits are part of one's identity, they're more likely to be maintained. So like what those habits basically become part of us. It's that whole unconscious, how we go out in the world, it becomes that unconscious, and so that becomes our self-identity.
Exactly that. So those are kind of psychological aspects that I personally find quite interesting around habit forming.
We love all this geeky
we do.
stuff.
Now there's a habit myth. They say it takes a minimum of 21 days to form a new habit, but it is a myth, right? It's
as we know,
yeah.
Like if anyone's experienced that, they're like, oh, if I do this for 21 days, but then they're doing it every other day, or they're doing it once a week.
There's actually a number of other more important factors, right? And unsurprisingly, it comes down to like how simple or complex the habit is. If you've got something really simple, then you're going to learn that and embed it as a habit pretty fast.
Then
if
you'll
you're
get the
consistent.
Then you'll get the dopamine hit, the new self-identity.
If it's a really complex habit, if you're learning to fly a jumbo jet, that's probably going to take you a while to become habitual to it, right?
21 days.
So simpler habits form faster than complex ones. There's individual differences as well for behaviour. It depends on our behavioural rewards, but also consistency is a part. Like Claire said, you can't just do something for like 2 minutes for 21 days and go, well, that's it, that's embedded. It's about this constant repetition. So, what are some examples of micro habits that could help you, right? So, and I want to come back to this. The idea of this is, so when we install new habits, we want them to become almost unconscious. So what I mean by that is we want to divorce from the thought or emotion around it. So I'll come back to the cleaning teeth example. We probably all get up and clean our teeth, but we don't think about, do I want to clean my teeth this morning? Oh, do I really want to? Do I enjoy cleaning my teeth? Do I not enjoy cleaning? So we want to get to the same place with these new habits. So I just get up and I drink water. We want to overrule the thought process. I get up and I do my workout. I get up and I do my stretch. We want to take that kind of emotion and thought out of it, so it is becoming a habit.
Can I just say on this, though, on this flip side, it's really interesting how quickly we can lose a habit. So I don't want anyone to beat themselves up, actually, if they have had something in their life that's been embedded in them that they think that they've got completely controlled and completely covered. Because actually, things like, I'm going to go kind of down this route now. Things like addictions, and we can be addicted to anything. It doesn't have to be substances. I mean, alcohol, cheese, sugar, drugs, anything. We can get into the habit of kind of replacing something with those addictive behaviours, and we can go on that route for a long time. But actually, the reality is we still need to be vigilant. And I would say that is a lifelong thing about our habits. They might become automatic, but I would say the small micro ones are probably going to become more like an unconscious habit. The bigger things in our life, those are going to take more focus. I think because I see this a lot with the alcohol-free groups that I'm in, and just some of the work that we've done, it can be very, very easy for life to throw you off. And in times of stress, in times of high stress, that's when it's quite difficult to maintain the habits that you have that are healthy. That's also why it's very, very difficult when you are highly stressed to embed new habits. So one of the things I would say around habit formation that I've read a lot about, and I really understand the psychology around, and I suppose the hormonal effect of being in a stress response. When we're in a stress response and in our life, that's a very difficult time to start building new habits. So that's why micro habits are easier, if that makes sense, because stress makes us go for comfort. Stress makes us want to go for the easy option. So I just wanted to put in there that you can very easily be thrown off your habits, so we need to stay vigilant. And I think that came from my example of last year when I went through that burnout and I didn't go to the gym for quite a few weeks. It was really hard for me to get back in the habit and in the mindset of it being kind of unconscious. It's just part of who I am. It's my self-identity. That kind of got ripped from me through that life experience, but also time out.
Yeah, but also it came back fast. Once you did go back to it, it came back fast because the neural pathways are still there. And that's the thing. When we have habit, we do actually change the brain structure and chemistry. So it will make it easier to go back to it. I just want to clarify something there. I said about divorcing from the emotion and the feeling. Listen, if you really enjoy something, keep emphasizing that. And sometimes when we're doing a new habit, if we're struggling with it, it can be useful to like mentally affirm it. But what I mean about divorcing from thought and emotion is if we let our conscious mind in, this is what I hear from clients all the time. It's like, oh, my alarm went off and then I just lay in bed and I thought I can't face getting out and going to the gym, and then I actually just lay there and I thought about it. So don't think about it. You are just a person that when the alarm goes off, you get up and you get your sports kit on and you go to the gym without a thought. It is just what you do, not about whether I want to do it or what's it like outside. It's just something you do.
We can really overthink it.
It's discipline. So discipline is crucial for habits.
It's the master, isn't it? And I think it's just, I wanted to say that about how easy it can slide, because it really did for me. So being vigilant is super important, but not beating yourself up, having some self-compassion. But like James said, it's so important. Like we tend to overthink. And actually, action is the only way you're going to build. It's not thinking about it. It's not waiting for some magical time for some motivation or some self-belief or some self-worth. Actually, all of that stuff comes from just taking the action, getting out of bed, just doing it.
So let's give you some examples. Let's give you a handful of examples here of micro habits that, you know, these are just examples. You can come up with your own ones that might be helpful to you. So like, around nutrition, right? If you want to like be nourishing yourself more healthily, hydration trigger. Drink a glass of water every morning as soon as you get up to kickstart hydration for the day. And we come on to habit stacking, but how could you do this? To remind yourself, actually make your big glass of water the night before and have it by the side of your bed. So when you wake up, you drink it straight away. Another thing might be, you know, a vegetable boost. So just adding more vegetables to your plate every meal. So you're less likely to snack and eat more of the things you don't want.
It's all these little things. Like for exercise, you could get... So as we're aging, obviously we're becoming less flexible. So it's really important. I'm staring at myself here about doing stretching. But actually having a morning stretch as part of your routine is really, really helpful to wake the body up actually. And start like feeling alive, just getting into your body. So spending 5 minutes doing some simple stretches immediately after you've got out of bed. And you could do that like a little reminder, putting your little mat out somewhere so you almost trip over it, but you don't trip over it as you go to the kitchen to get your glass of water. Just reminding yourself to do that small little micro habit for 5 minutes. Or this is a really easy one, the stair challenge. Opt for the stairs instead of the lift for one floor every day, or actually get off, you know, a bus stop early, or park your car away from work a little bit earlier, or get off a tube stop earlier. You know, and actually walk to the office. So it's those little micro habits that are going to pack a massive punch. Yeah, actually, just on that, the walking further, most of our calorie burn doesn't come from exercise. It comes from what we call non-exercise activity thermogenesis, NEAT. So, you know, we're all familiar with the concept of steps, but the interesting thing is probably around like 20, 30 years ago, we were doing an average 35,000 steps a day. Most people are averaging around 3,500 steps a day now because we've become so sedentary. So just throwing that in there as a related topic. Yes, so that's a good one. It is. If you don't take any others away, take that one away. On mental well-being, you could keep a gratitude journal. So again, when you get up before your day starts, before you pick up your phone and let the outside world in, you know, just write down 3 things you're grateful for.
Another thing you could do is just spend some time taking 3 deep breaths in the morning, just to wake the body up, get it oxygenated. And then that could be a habit that you take. And every time you're facing a new task, you just remember to take 3 deep breaths and find that moment of stillness.
I am going to do the relationship one as well. This was written down as a little reminder when we were doing our tips for you. But relationships, it's so important, okay? We have like 3 basic needs as human beings, and they're health, wealth, and decent relationships. Good, solid, decent relationships. And a lot of the time we don't spend time on those relationships. So having a micro habit that really helps us invest in those relationships is really important. So a daily check-in. So like spending 5 minutes talking with your partner about your day without any distractions. So like you say, 5 minutes, here's yours. Sit facing each other, staring each other's eyes. Honestly, that is going to feel so weird to so many of you who have such a crazy, busy lifestyle. But that little micro habit, oh my goodness, builds so much intimacy and so much connection back into your relationship. So I'd really, really encourage you to do that. So 10 minutes in total, 5 minutes one, 5 minutes the other. Really connect. And the other one is a compliment ritual. So give a sincere compliment to a family member or friends every day. Find someone, or a stranger even, like the coffee person that makes you your coffee. This giving, actually, this habit of giving as well, this little micro habit of giving, releases oxytocin, which is our connection hormone. It makes us feel really good when we give. So actually paying a compliment to someone is such a way to uplift our mood.
Yeah. So you can
James, you're looking very handsome today.
Oh, well, bless you. Thank you. So you can see these habits are they're small. These are what we call them micro habits. They're really easy to incorporate. You're not having to go off, and buy a book about it or plan it. It's just like, whoa, I can easily incorporate that into my day.
It becomes so overwhelming, doesn't it?
A way you can make it even easier for yourself is by stacking habits. So we call this habit stacking. So what this do is, like the new habit, you tie it to an existing habit. So let's take an example. If you get up in the morning and you go and you make your cup of tea or a cup of coffee, but you want to be more hydrated, then as you're going to the coffee, it's like, right, have the glass out. Remember to have that big glass of water as well. It could be, on the mental side, mindset. As you're cleaning your teeth, you look in the mirror and you say your affirmations to yourself. So you've got the existing habit that you don't have to think about, teeth cleaning. As you do that, it's the trigger for the new habit of saying your affirmations.
Well, that's a really important thing. That word trigger, in NLP we work with triggers a lot, and that trigger is the unconscious part, and then it's the reminder, isn't it? The trigger and the reminder to say the affirmations, or to look into your eyes and say, hey, you're doing really well. That's what I do.
You're doing really well today.
Thank you. But I clean my teeth and I look into my eyes. Again, people find this very, very uncomfortable. I still find this uncomfortable. Looking deep into my eyes and actually just saying mentally to myself, today is a great day. A day of opportunity. All things are good. You're doing brilliantly, and go and smash the day. Like, I'm just kind to myself when I look into my eyes. So that's another one that I do. What's up next for us to talk about?
Well, I was going to say, we're going to challenge you, listeners. So,
yes.
So what are your current daily micro habits? What are your habits that you have? What are the good ones? What are the bad ones? And what new micro habits might you choose now to actually get the results you want in life? Where could you install these tiny little things that will actually make a big impact over time? We'd love you to let us know. So do email us, team at the Midlife Mentors. And then the last thing I want to say about this is track them and celebrate your successes. It comes back that human beings are addicted to dopamine. So we want to celebrate successes. If you've got a little tick box like, oh, I have my big glass of water, and maybe you've got it on the fridge sticker or something, you've ticked it off every day. You're like, wow, I've done it. It sounds silly, but even ticking off a list gives us that dopamine.
Well, I have first-hand knowledge of this when I did 75 Hard, which I feel like I should do an entire podcast on, because even though I thought it was the best thing, best thing that since sliced bread whilst I was doing it, looking back now, it was not the best. But anyway, the whole concept actually is about discipline. I'm a pretty disciplined person anyway, so goodness knows what I was thinking, trying to prove something to myself by being even more disciplined by doing 75 Hard and making myself ill. But that's a side subject. The actual act and the discipline of ticking everything off in that little app that I had every single evening was my celebration of success. And what James is saying there, actually have something visual. We get that dopamine hit from going, well done, you could tick that. We're like little children, or like to our dogs, well done. Tick it off, tick it off, tick it off, tick it off. And we feel good about ourselves. So yeah, like James said, that's a really, really good idea. And celebrate those little wins, celebrate the success. Honestly, this is the stuff that makes all the massive difference. James said at the beginning, we make change so difficult. We make such a big deal out of it because we expect ourselves to make such huge changes, have these huge epiphanies, make this massive drastic change. It just ain't ever going to happen. That's not my experience. I don't think it's many people's experience. They need to be small little habits. Don't overwhelm yourself. Take one at a time if you need to, one at a time. Get that nailed and then have that success, get that dopamine hit, feel good about yourself and move on to the next one.
Exactly. This is exactly how we do it in our programs, because we're delivering an app. You just get drip fed this constant reminders like to do this habit, do this habit, do this habit. Over time, the results are massive from just making these micro changes.
Well, it's that unconscious level of learning. I think that's what all of our clients say about our program and what you're going to get on our 10-day boost. We're giving you access to our app, which we don't normally do. We only give people our access to our app on our 8-week midlife reset. But people say all the time, it's that unconscious, conscious learning, basically, of ticking these things off, being reminded, not being overwhelmed, but just these small things that we know pack a massive punch when it comes to changing your behaviour. This is a behaviour change that means it's sustainable. We can all do these individual, isolated things for a short amount of time, but they're not going to stay with you, because it's not integrated, and we're integrating behaviour change so you can sustain it, and you have the toolkit for life, for mind, body and soul.
So I hope you found that useful. We hope you have a clear understanding of micro habits and habit stacking, and we would love to hear what your new micro habits are. So
we get emails from you, and we absolutely love them. And please do remember to share this podcast, to subscribe to this podcast, to rate this podcast, give us a lovely review. If you enjoy listening, we love doing this for you. This comes from such a passion of ours, such a mission, so from our heart space. So one thing we would ask from you is just share your experience of listening, and thank you for being here. We love you all loads, and we'll catch up with you next week.
See you next time.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah.